And shifting focus over to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Japan visit. On the last day of his visit to Japan, Narendra Modi is all set to sign key agreements with Japan. After receiving a ceremonial welcome, Prime Minister Modi and PM Shinzo Abe held delegation-level talks. Narendra Modi addressed a Make in India seminar where the stress was on how India has made great strides in the past few years.
साल 2014 में जब मैंने सरकार की बागडोर संभाली थी, उस समय वर्ल्ड बैंक की ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस रैंकिंग में भारत का स्थान 140th था। अब हम 100वीं रैंक पर पहुंचे हैं और अभी भी लगातार प्रयास करके इस रैंकिंग में सुधार के लिए बहुत व्यापक स्तर पर हम एक के बाद एक कदम उठा रहे हैं। भारत सरकार ने ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को और बढ़ावा देने के लिए अपने 36 राज्य और यूनियन टेरिटरीज की रैंकिंग भी करनी शुरू कर दी है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also interacted with top business leaders from India and Japan at the India-Japan Business Leaders Forum in Tokyo. Prime Minister said that inputs offered at the forum will propel India to achieve global benchmarking and urged Japanese businessmen to engage more with India. Prime Minister Modi's interaction with the Indian community was also met with much cheer and enthusiasm.
साथियों, आपको ये जानकर गर्व होगा कि जनधन, आधार और मोबाइल यानी जैम की ट्रिनिटी से जो ट्रांसपेरेंसी भारत में आई है, उससे अब दुनिया के दूसरे विकासशील देश भी प्रेरित हो रहे हैं। भारत में बनाए गए इस सिस्टम की स्टडी की जा रही है। इसके अलावा डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन की हमारी आधुनिक व्यवस्था जैसे भीम ऐप और रुपे कार्ड, इनको लेकर भी दुनिया के अनेक देशों में उत्सुकता है।
And now to bring us more details, I am joined in by Daisuke Sato, a journalist with Japan's Kaido News, and he's joining me live from New Delhi. A very warm welcome to you. So, how do you analyze the India-Japan relations at the moment, keeping in mind that it is the first time that the Japanese Prime Minister has invited a foreign political leader to his holiday home in the village of Yamanashi, not to forget the fact that, Shinzo Abe is also called Prime Minister Modi a very dependable and valuable friend.
First, I have to point that this is not the first time for Japanese Prime Minister to invite a foreign Prime Minister and President to holiday home. In 1983, the Nakasone Prime Minister Nakasone invited Ronald Reagan, the President Reagan, Ronald Reagan in USA, invited a private home, a private house in Tokyo Prefecture. And this is the first time for Prime Minister Abe to invite a foreign prime minister to his holiday home. Yes. So in the background of this invitation, there's some concerns for the Chinese government, as a Japanese government. As you know, in this April, the President Xi Jinping invited Modi at the holiday home of Mao Zedong in China and had a summit over there. So in order to counter with Chinese political movement, Japanese government invited Modi to the home house. Anyway, this inviting is one of the emphasize that the Japanese government think the relationship with India is very important, I think.
Right. Mr. Sato also...
So Abe said on 24th in the Japanese National Parliament, yes. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Sato, it's important,
Okay,
since you just mentioned China, it's important to talk about how Modi's visit comes on the heels of Abe's talks with the Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Premier Li Keqiang. So, do you see that Japan is trying to strengthen its relationship further with India to actually counter China's growing political and economic clout?
Yes, exactly. Now the Abe administration changes countermeasures to China. As you said, the Abe met Xi Jinping at Beijing and held a summit for the first time in 7 years. China is suffering financial blow by the trade war with USA.
Right.
In order to avoid falling in line with Japan and USA about this issue, China has no choice except to solve for Japan. But I have no intention to have excessive expectation of the bilateral relationship. Japan changed the attitude for participating China's One Belt, One Road policy. But we are still concerning for China's advance into Asian Pacific areas. It is very difficult for Japan to completely believe the Japan to Chinese government. So in this regard, as a country, India, as a country can share with the basic values. It's very important country, India, for Japan, I think.
Right. Mr. Sato, it's also very important to mention that, the United States is as integral a part of the Quad as is Japan and India. So do you think Japan and India could benefit out of the ongoing trade war between US and China?
That's very difficult question because it's very difficult to forecast about the future of the trade war between US and China because it was caused by Trump administration. It's very hard to forecast what the Trump ways of thinking. I think so. It's very difficult to answer, I think.
All right. To end with, Mr. Sato, one is the richest democracy, and I'm talking about Japan, and the other, which is India, is the largest democracy in the world. What are the benefits do you see for these two, the biggest and the richest democracies in the world?
Okay, as you said, Japan is one of a highly democratic and highly developed country, but we are facing the problems and population shrinking and economic stagnations. In the other hand, India is keeping the highly developing and the population is increasing. I think it is very India has a very good potential for the market and so on for business. So it make a win-win relationship between Japan and India through such an good relationship and the economics and the politics, I think.
Right, Mr. Sato, that's exactly what the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, pointed out at the Make in India summit back there in Tokyo. And he's also extended an invitation to Japanese manufacturing firms to come and make in India. On that note, thank you so much, Mr. Daisuke Sato, for joining us here on World is One.